Welcome to today's programming lesson. The first thing you want to do is make sure that you have this link. You've clicked this link from the video description or the web page you came from, which is below the video. That will bring you to this magical castle with a princess and a dragon. You want to be sure you have this green remix button here in the top middle. If you don't see that button, that's because you are not logged in. So be sure you log in with your Scratch account and press remix. Now here we go. You can start working in here. You are in the brain of the knight. And really there's not a whole lot in his brain right now. When the green flag is clicked, he shows up. He teleports to the castle like he's in this backdrop. He goes to the bottom corner of your screen. He points to the right. 90 means to the right. And then over and over and over again, he starts asking a question. And so luckily you don't have to hang out with him in person because he would be really annoying because he just keeps saying, hey, are you pressing the right arrow? 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 Over and over and over again. So watch this. If I run the program, when I start pressing all the keys, nothing matters except the right arrow. When he hears me press that right arrow, he moves to the right. Now, the bad news is you are never going to get to the princess because you're just going to walk off the screen. So what we need to do is we need to make our knight a little bit smarter. And what we want is we want this same type of idea, except for 3 more arrows. So the right arrow works great. He says, are you pressing it? If so, I'm going to look to the right and I'm going to take a few steps. So what I would like for you to do, I'm going to show you how to cheat. Of course, you could come over here and grab all of those blocks and rebuild them, but watch this. If you right click with your mouse on the if and then select duplicate. Now be really careful though, because you have a whole bunch of code kind of attached to your mouse right now, and you want to make sure you put this in the right spot. So you need to be sure that it goes underneath the other if and inside that forever. So you want that forever loop to kind of open his mouth a little wider so you can fit that in there. You do not want it inside of the other if statement. That's bad. So be very careful with that. Ka-ching. So it's if and then the loop. And then you make a few changes. So this says, hey, are you pressing the right arrow? What do you want to do next? Let's say, are you pressing the left arrow? Well, if you're pressing the left arrow, I don't want to look that way. I want to look this direction. And I still want to take 5 steps. So here's what I would like for you to do. Go ahead and pause this video and use that cheat. I would like for you to kind of replicate all of this logic. You need 4 questions, so you'll have 4 if statements, 1 for each arrow. When you get that done, then I want you to give your program a run and make sure that you can drive him in all different directions. Okay, so once you have that code written, take him on a test drive, pressing right, pressing left, pressing up, pressing down, make sure he goes the right directions and that he can drive any which way he chooses. If something's not working right, come back and double check to make sure your arrows match up with the directions that you're telling him to point, and make sure you didn't accidentally feed one if statement to another one. So if you have an if statement inside of an if statement, that's not going to be good. So make sure the if statements are attached to each other and they are inside the forever loop. Now, here we go. We're going to make our knight a lot smarter because he needs to know when he's being roasted by the dragon. Right now he's a little clueless and he doesn't even realize that he's getting roasted by the dragon. So what we would like to do is to make things a little easier, I'm going to scroll to the right. So again, if you just take your mouse, click in the white region and then drag. These 2 things are going to happen together almost like, have you ever tried that thing where you're supposed to like rub your stomach and pat your head and you do 2 different things at the same time? That's what we're going to do here. He's better at it than you are though, so it'll be okay. So on this green flag clicked, we're going to tell the knight, I want you to try to determine if you're touching the dragon. The weird thing is I need you again to be doing this forever. I don't want you to ask if you're touching the dragon once and then give up. I want you to always be saying, am I touching the dragon? Am I touching the dragon? Am I touching the dragon? So we need a little question. Now in the last video, yesterday's lesson, we did some if else, but this is not what we need in this situation because an if else really only gives us 1 question and 2 options. So think about this. In this game, it's not so much either I lost or I won, because there's a third option. The third option is maybe I'm still playing, right? And so this kind of if else is either lost or won, but that means I can't actually be playing the game. So an if else is not what we want for this setup. So we're gonna just grab the if, and then I'm gonna feed this if to that forever. So put them in there. And if I go to sensing, there is this blue block about touching, and look how it's like a puzzle that's going to fit right in there. And I can say, I don't care if you're touching the mouse pointer. What I care about is, are you touching the dragon? So now he's got two different like strains of thought in his head. So he's always thinking, asking, are you pressing the right key? Are you pressing the left key? Are you pressing the blah, blah, blah? But he's also always asking, am I touching the dragon? Am I touching the dragon? So he's got it's very busy inside of his head. Let's say when he does touch the dragon, what should happen? I'm gonna go to the looks, which is purple, and about halfway down, you can change the backdrops. Now, I gave you a couple different backdrops. There's the backdrop we're on right now, a winner backdrop, and a loser backdrop. So I'm going to say, that means you are a loser. So he's always thinking, am I touching the dragon? Am I touching the dragon? So here we go. Right now his brain's saying, am I touching the dragon? Am I touching the dragon? Am I touching the dragon? He's thinking it all the time. Eventually the answer is yes. And now we went to the loser screen. Now, one thing I don't like is that you're still running around even though you're a loser, right? He can still listen to my keys. So I'm also going to go to control, and I'm going to grab this stop. I'm going to put the stop here, but I don't want to stop everything. Yeah, you could, that would probably be fine, but I'm going to stop the other code in his brain. So that means all of this, am I touching different arrows, is just going to stop, and he's going to stop asking that. So now this way, he's saying, am I touching dragon? Am I touching dragon? Am I touching dragon? And now I cannot move him anymore, no matter what buttons I press. Here is your challenge. In this block of code, I want you to use this same logic, and I want you to determine whether you're touching the princess, if you've rescued the princess or not. So again, I don't want you to feed an if statement to another if statement. You're going to ask another question after this question. So am I touching the dragon? After that's done, you want to say, am I touching the princess? But you still want that to be inside the loop. So I'm going to let you pause this video, kind of build that up, and then take it for a test drive and make sure that he can determine which one he's touching. Okay, so here comes your test drive. You can move him around. Oh, nice. I get a certain response there, and I get a different response there. So now he is smart enough to know whether he won or he lost, and he's always asking himself, am I a winner? Am I a loser? Am I a winner? Am I a loser? Okay, let's write a little bit more code. This time I'm going to go into the brain of the princess. So down here at the bottom, I will click the princess. And really, this would probably be a better program if we wrote code in the princess's brain to have her rescue the knight, right? Why is she just standing there? So if you feel like doing that, throw some code in her brain and make her the hero instead. Inside of the brain of the princess, I would like to add something interesting. Over here in events, the princess can look around and see what backdrop she's on. So we could actually say, when the backdrop switches to winner, so she will notice, oh wait a minute, this dude that's come to save me is a winner. And so we could just do some things like switch her costume. We could, I don't know, you could play a sound, you could say whatever you think a princess would do. Awesome sauce. Of course, she does not notice that. She does not take those actions when he is a loser. So we could also do this if you want to. We could say, what happens when he's a loser? I don't know. We could do whatever. We could have her say something mean. We could have her cry. We could have her play a sound. I'm going to have her hide. So she just disappears. So when he loses, she looks around, notices that she's around a bunch of losers, and she just disappears. So here's your challenge. I would like for you to pause this video, make sure that your princess responds appropriately. I want you to do a similar type of thing for the dragon, right? So, but probably backwards. He probably celebrates for the loser, but disappears for the winner. So pause the video and program in the dragon's brain for just a bit. Okay, and now just for some bonus points, for some fun, to customize this a little bit, we have used the sound blocks before, and so right now I'm in the brain of the princess. I could go for sound. I could say I want her to play a sound whenever, which is nice. You'll notice that she only has a couple different options, and if you don't like those options, we can fix that. So if you think that's kind of not my favorite sound, or that's not what a princess would play, you can go to your sounds tab. You can hit the add button down there, and then you can come and shop for whatever you think would be appropriate. Maybe you think that was kind of scary. Maybe you think that sounds more like a princess. You click that, and now that is one of the options, so that in her brain she knows that sound as well. Play with the different sounds, get whatever you would like. Also, I'm going to go to her costumes. Now she has 2 costumes, which is fine. If you wanted to kind of spice it up a little bit, one of my favorite tricks is to say, okay, this costume here is cool. I'm going to right click and duplicate that costume. And then you can kind of play around. You can do fill color. So I'm going to say I want to fill something green, and the thing I want to fill that's green is her hair. Boom. So now she has 2 different looks. She can have green hair. You can also, if you use this select tool, you can kind of, sometimes it's moody. I can click her sleeve. If I click and drag, I can get her sleeve and her hand, and I could like move it around. She could have like, maybe she's cheering. And so you could just kind of get crazy and modify, duplicate a costume and modify it and have fun. Now the weirdest thing is if you take this second tool and then you come click some line, you could kind of drag it out of whack, which sometimes works better than others. So that's not really going to look too great, but you can always undo if you don't like what has happened. So here's my challenge to you. I want you to take this game and make it very much your own. Customize what sounds happen, what they look like. Do they wave when it's all done? Or are they going to change their hair color when it's all done? So take this kind of fairy tale and customize it with different sounds and different costumes and make it all yours.